Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl Apolonia Cross. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to be present and productive for yourself, your family, and your business. Now, this is something that all of us mompreneurs and moms just in general, we struggle with trying to figure out and keep the balance in juggling all of the things, right? And I want to really challenge you guys to really work on adopting a hustle and flow mindset versus a hustle and grind mindset. And I'm going to be discussing more of that in today's video. So I am so excited to be hanging out with you guys again today. We are on day 2 of me connecting with you guys live. And so I have a story for you on that. But before we get into the discussion and the story that I have to share with you guys, I want to welcome you all to let me know where you're at in the world. Make sure you're saying hi and also post in the comments if you're catching me on the live. Let me know where you're at. And also, if you are catching the replay, make sure you're posting hashtag replay below in the comments. And if this is your first time tuning with me, welcome. My name is Apolonia Cross, and I am a mindset and wellness coach who specializes in helping mompreneurs learn how to use planners and journals to manage and improve their self-care so that way they can learn how to create a healthy lifestyle for themselves and their growing families. And that's why this topic is so important, because I cannot tell you guys how much that's like the number one question, as well as the number one struggle we're all like trying to figure out and do our best to keep up with everything, keep up with doctor's appointments, keep up with meetings, and keep up with the social media and the algorithm, which is like literally its own type of full-time job. Okay, trying to keep up with appointments, keep up with meal planning, keep up with our workout plans, keep up with all of the things, right? Like you name it, we're trying to figure out how to juggle it all and also not lose ourselves in the process. So this is the number one thing that I really want to encourage you, that I really had to work on reframing my mindset as well. And this mindset comes from culture, but it also comes from working in the 9 to 5 space. Okay. So we always hear it. And if you're a millennial like me, y'all know hustle and flow. Okay. Like, or was it Hustle and Flow? What was the movie 50 Cent was in? I don't even remember. And that's like beside the point. But hustle and grind mentality is a real thing. We've learned, and it is glorified to hustle and work your way to the ground, staying up late, waking up early, and like drinking all the coffee, all these energy drinks, and all of these things to stay productive and to stay awake and meeting all these quotas in the goal to achieving more, right? And having more, which there is nothing wrong with that. But when you are a mother and a full-time caregiver to your family, and you are also someone who is very ambitious and very goal driven, the struggle is, how do I maintain being fully present with my kids? Because you want to be, but how do I also go in all in my business and try to, achieve all my dreams when I feel so drugged down by my family? And that is a very big struggle, because we're combating these two different type of mentalities and these two different type of personalities that's both within us, right? Like as a mompreneur, you have that drive, that ambition, and you want to get stuff done, and that that you can, which is the most important thing. But also as a mom, you feel that need and that call to want to be very fully present with your family and also be as intentional as you possibly can, but you can't because your mindset is focused on the business. So instead of using this hustle and grind, sacrificing your sleep, sacrificing your nutrition, and sacrificing your family's health and well-being, your marriage, and all of those things, I really, really, really want to encourage and challenge you to adopt a hustle in flow mindset. Okay. So we're ditching the hustle and grind, and we are going to hustle in flow. And this is something that I have, I I don't know if I want to say boldly that I've like created this whole hustle inflow type of thing, but that's what I'm just going to coin. Okay. So the hustle inflow mentality is you are adopting the mindset that you are going to honor the flow of life that you're in, as well as the flow and life of your family. And as a mompreneur, you have that choice to be able to do that. Why? Because you are choosing to own your time and or learn how to regain your time and discipline your mindset to do what is necessary to where you make sure that you set those boundaries and honor your family time and all of those things. So with that being said, this is where you have to learn to be very, very disciplined as well. By first doing the number one thing, you have to look, and this is where planning really comes into a big deal, is because when you're focusing on building your business, you understand like the very beginning phases of building a business is just like the very beginning stages of trying to lose weight, raising your family. Like that beginning stage is so hard and so crucial because you're having to unlearn a lot of habits, change a lot of things, and you're having to do everything all at once because nothing's necessarily in flow and you're essentially learning on the go, right? And so when you're trying to build your, raise your family and build a business, there's a lot of clash there because they're battling for each other. But if you step back and say, no, I am choosing hustle and flow, and I am going to prioritize my business around my family versus prioritize my family around my business, you're making that mental shift that you are going to focus on prioritizing your family and those core values first. So that way you are nowhere near and no more arguing that your family is a priority over your business. We are establishing that, we are honoring that, and we are okay with that. And I want to make sure that I really press upon you guys to really set that foundation on your mindset with this hustle and flow mentality as a mompreneur, is because with being in the social media space, especially for those of you who are building your businesses online, we're so exposed to seeing this woman's success, that woman's success. She's able to do it like this, and I should be able to do it like this. The comparison becomes this turmoil inside our mind to where we neglect and depreciate what we actually have to work with because we're so focused on what this person's doing and how that person's doing. Oh, we want this person's success. Why isn't my success looking like that? No, that's not how we're going to do this. In the hustle and inflow mentality, we understand and we honor our family's flow and our lifestyle. But with that, we also take full ownership that we have full control of our business and how we manage our time and also our activities, right? On what it is that we're actually going to do when we are working our business and how we choose to work our business. And so there's freedom in that, as well as a lot of responsibility with that. Okay. So I just want, again, the very first things, because I have a few tips that I want to make sure that I share with you guys on how to help you be more consistent with this, and just some more like tangible tips that you can use when you are working on creating your schedule and trying to figure out how you're going to fit in all of the things, right? So the very first thing I want you to do is when you sit down to look at your schedule, I want you first, you need to obviously have what are the mandatory things that you absolutely have to do, okay? Like if you're working a full-time job, you're going to be a little different than someone who is like me, who is a full-time stay-at-home mom. Nowhere near get that twisted that I don't get, full-time stay-at-home moms have all the time in the world, because let me tell you, it's not that way. I'm just saying, okay? But we still have to work with it, utilizing the pockets of time that we do have. And so that's the same thing that you need to do. Okay. Look at your schedule. And as you're doing that, you kind of know how your family kind of operates, right? So for example, for me, I recognize that my children, all four of them, y'all, wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Don't know why. It's been like that for years. It is just what that is. And for a long time, I would fight that and I would get frustrated, try to figure out how to change them and all of the things. But all that did was create resistance and stress me out even more. So instead, I adopted that hustle and flow mindset. And I'm like, okay, if my children are going to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I could leave them to do some things on their own and still focus on whatever I'm doing. However, that's going to set me up for failure because it's creating more mess just because my children are not fully self-sufficient yet. Okay. I've a large age group difference. So what I have to work with is between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. is when my family, it's just typically family time. Okay. And so if that's what I have to work with, what are the pockets of time that I have that are not necessarily busy, but they're like more calmer moments. Like right now is like a relaxed kind of pocket of time for us and our family. We went and did our family thing, and then now everybody's just kind of like chilling and relaxing. So this is the up window of opportunity for me to do something for my business. Okay. Or even if it was to do something for myself. But and there goes my daughter already calling me mom. But yeah, so we have to learn how to first recognize like what's going on, how is our family's like lifetime, right? And then understanding, okay, when am I working, or what are the other responsibilities and things that you have to do, and fit those into your schedule. And then within that, when you have all of the absolute non-negotiable things that you must get done for that week, then you want to look at that and say, okay, what are the pockets of time that I have that I can either, number one, use to prioritize time for myself, or use to prioritize time for my business. Okay. And you want to set that aside and be mindful of that. Because a lot of times we want to treat our business like we do our jobs by having a long, like 4 or 5 hour block. And that is not necessarily ideal on a consistent basis, especially in the very first stages of your business and you're working a full-time job, or you're just starting out and you're, like I said, you're like me and you have full-time kids all the time. So trying to work nonstop is very difficult. And so again, utilizing those pockets of time that you have for you to be able to prioritize that, also being maybe screen time for your children. Like my 3-year-old, she hasn't had screen time really all day for the most part since she's been awake. And so when she asked me for my phone, I said, okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that because we've been active in doing things as a family together. So she has not been in screen time. So this is that opportunity in that pocket of time that I've created for myself to be able to do this live video with you guys. And this is me working my business. Okay. Right. And it could be the same exact thing. If you're prioritizing your self-care and wanting to work out, this is how you create those pockets of time to be able to do that. Okay. And also, so now let me go into the second tip with having a hustle and flow mentality is you want to make sure that you are honoring the season of life that you are in. Okay. This one is very huge because a lot of times we want to be in the summer, right? We want to be able to already reach the milestones, have the finances, have the support, have the daycare, all of the things that we feel that we need to have right now and that we want to have as form of success, health, wealth, all of the things, right? However, life is just not like that right now. So if you are so focused on what you don't have and why you don't have it, and you're trying to put yourself above the season of life that you're in, like with me, I have little kids and I have older kids, but like the early stages of like that 1 to 5 year age is so demanding. And yes, I wish I had more full-time help with, daycare or, family and friends who would be able to help kids more, babysit and all that, but that's just not the season and not my circumstances. So again, instead of being frustrated about that, honoring, okay, the season of life that I'm in is a busy season. So I may not be able to push and do all of these things that I want to do right now for my business, but what can I do right now that is going to give me the most bang for my buck, the most bang for my productivity, the most bang for my growth? So what is that for me that I can do consistently within the pockets of time that I have that are going to allow me to push forward and still move the needle forward and grow in my business, while I'm not also sacrificing like my family time or friends or anything like that either. So that's very, very important. You have to honor the season of life that you are in. Okay. And as I'm going through this, guys, let me know again, you guys fully feel free. This is why I love doing live videos, because you get to connect with me. Let me know if this resonates with you, or let me know, is this something that you're really, really struggling with? Because I get a lot of messages in the DMs asking me like, how do you do it all? How do you find time to do this? How do you find time to do that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I literally, this is how I do that. So let me know what is resonating with you guys. And if you have any other questions or anything, I would love to also answer those live for you. Or even if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to still leave that. And then that way I can still connect with you guys and comment my responses afterwards. Okay. And so, yeah, so utilizing those pockets of time that you do have to work your business, or take time for yourself, or spend quality time with your family, right? And honor the season of life that you're in, because you want to respect what is going on, because you're placed in this season so you can grow and develop in yourself, grow and develop in your family, grow and develop in your business. So instead of creating all of this resistance, we don't want any resistance, because when we have this resistance, we block our blessings. So we want to make sure we stay in a receiving in open mindset, so that way we can say, okay, how can I take all of these blessings and these opportunities that have been given and work with them, right? That is what we're called to do, and that's what we have to learn how to do. And so honor the season of life that you're in, and understand that this is one of those stepping stones that's going to get you further and closer to your goals. And so that way too, you are not feeling guilty for allowing your children to have tablet time. You're not feeling guilty for not booking a business call or what have you, and you're not feeling guilty for getting in a workout in for yourself, because you're honoring those pockets of time that you have in the season of life that you're in. So it's all working in your favor right now, and they're all those gradual building blocks that you're wanting to build. This is those foundational things that you want to do. All right. Number 3, you want to make sure you're setting and protecting your boundaries. And this comes with acknowledging those pockets of time that you have, right? And honoring that season of your life. And so specifically when it comes to actually planning things out in your schedule, you want to look and see, okay, if this is the pocket of time that I have, maybe you have 45 minutes to spend time, getting in a workout, and maybe, I don't know, reading a personal development book, right? If you're trying to do self-care for yourself. Totally lost my train of thought. Don't know why. I was totally in a vibe. Mom brain, gotta love it. But yeah, so if you have 45 minutes here and maybe 45 minutes there, the question is, what can you do within the 45 minutes that you have? And how can you do that well? Like, what are the top no more than 3 activities that you can do and get done efficiently in that time that you have? And no matter what, making sure that you don't do any more than that. You have to set that boundary for yourself, but you're also setting that boundary with your children or with your spouse. And sometimes that can be very like difficult, especially when your spouse may or may not have a consistent work schedule. Like for example, my husband does not, for the most part he does, but because he is in law enforcement, there is a their schedules can up and change at any given time. So I honestly never really know officially when his days off are until I know he's home, because he can get ordered, he can have a holdover, he can get pick up overtime. So it's always constantly changing. And so instead of being upset with that, I understand and protect the certain time blocks. So that 6 in the morning for me, I understand most of the majority of the day is family time for me. And unless I have someone who's going to be able to fully watch my children, I understand that I'm focusing on pockets of time instead of large amount and bulk activities to do during those days. And that is how I'm able to stay present with my family, but also stay very productive in my business for what I can be for the season of life that I'm in. And so that's something that you really have to think about, is protecting the family time and energy, and setting those boundaries also, like I said, with your family and yourself. So if you are um as an example for a timeline. So for me, I know, like I said, between 6 and 9, my children are pretty much awake. But within that, there's times where it's very high energy. And I know I need to be fully present with them. And then there's other times to where I know they're kind of more relaxed and I can just let them kind of be and be able to focus on doing something else. And so by recognizing what those pockets of time are and how long I have, I'm able to establish and set those boundaries with myself and my kids. Okay. And so the fourth thing that I want to give you guys is stick to the plan, but be flexible with your schedule. Now, you might be like, that makes no sense, right? Like, that's the whole point of having a plan. It's supposed to be tied to your schedule. Well, that's not true. Okay. And I want to give this into this way, because your schedule is one thing, right? It's just a timeline of what your day is supposed to be. But as we know, not every day is perfect, and sometimes things are going to change. Okay. And just like, for example, today, I originally planned to do this at my high peak energy of the day, which is in the morning time. My high peak energy is between, don't ask me why, guys, but it just is like high peak where my mind is like firing off is like 4 in the morning to about 11 a.m. where I'm like flowing, and it's like extremely peak where all my creative juices and like my ideas and stuff. If that happens for me between 7:30 or 7 a.m. to 10 is when all of the things are just going for me, and I'm like, so much energy. I want to do this, that, and that, and that, and that. And so that's when I originally planned to go live with you guys. However, today my husband was off, and I didn't know. Like I said, his schedule is kind of funky, but I didn't know that he had planned holiday a vacation day for today. So I was like, all right, he's home, so I'm sure he wants to rest because he worked late. But I know we're more than likely going to do something. So because typically with him being home, a lot of the times I try to honor his need to rest and not just use it as my opportunity to be productive and do all the things, right? Like that's what I used to do, but then that caused that friction between us. And so I recognize that and I honor that. He needs to rest because he's tired and he's busy. I still need to be productive because I have a business that I'm trying to grow and run. So how can I create harmony with that, right? So that is the beauty of having that hustle in flow mentality. So this was actually the story I wanted to share with you guys is with today, because I knew that we were going to try to do something together as a family. Instead of being a stickler to when I was going to go live, I honored and allowed the flow of the family and what we were doing, it kind of feel how like my husband was feeling and when how getting the kids ready and stuff today, around what time we were actually going to be going to do family things and when I could actually work my business. And so that's what I did. So I basically just flipped the schedule. The plan stayed the same. So meaning my actual activities that I planned to do, like those action steps, those things are still staying the same. The schedule just flipped, right? So this is what I mean by stick to the plan, but be flexible with your schedule because the times are going to go up and down, right? Especially when you're a full-time mom and you're running a business. This is not something that you can clock in and clock out unless you have the full-time daycare. But if that is not what you have, you got to learn how to be able to hustle in the flow of life because it's always going to change. Like you guys just seen my child walk out. Like it's always flowing, ever flowing. And that is okay. This is the beautiful part of building and creating a business for yourself and for your family because you get to create it in a way that honors your core values and your beliefs, which is prioritizing our families. And we want to build a business that helps the family, not build a business that takes away from the family, right? So having a hustle and flow mentality is going to be a game changer for you versus the hustle and grind. Now, nowhere near am I saying you should not be very diligent in working your business, but consistency and discipline and taking action looks very different for a mompreneur. She has to understand and respect her time a lot differently than someone who has just full lots of time to do things, right? And maybe their children are older and then a lot more freer. Again, honoring the season of life that you are in, respecting your family lifestyle and how the family flows, and protecting and setting those boundaries is so important because again, you are working on creating the business and the lifestyle that you want for you and your family. And so you have to take your family's natural flow of life and everything into consideration as you're working on building your business. And also as you're working on creating those pockets of time that you need to refuel and energize yourself so that way you can be fully present unapologetically in both your business and your family. All right. So I hope these tips I gave you guys were helpful. I kind of went through a lot of them fairly quickly, but I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you did and what resonated the most with you. And as I am leaving you guys today, again, I want to encourage you, if you hung out with me full on the live, thanks again for hanging out. But also for those of you who caught the replay, thanks again for catching the replay. Do not be shy by posting #replay in the comments and also dropping any questions or comments or anything that you guys have so I can connect with you guys later. All right. But I do want to leave you with this affirmation that I encourage you to write down in your planner, write down on your mirror, or even journal about is this: I can go all in my business while being fully present for myself and my family. Now, if this is something that you want to journal, the question for you is, how can I go all in my business while being fully present for myself and my family? What are the key activities and things that I need to do that honor these focus areas, right? That honor each of these. And so ask yourself that and allow yourself that free space to really allow your creative side to come out and help you discover those answers. And whatever answers those come in, again, remember that you are creating this hustle and flow mentality because your goal is to recreate a healthy, sustainable lifestyle for yourself and your family and your business. It's all a part of your lifestyle. It is up to you to own that and recreate it in alignment with your values and your beliefs, so that way your business and your family and you can thrive. All right, so again, thanks again, you guys, for hanging out with me. I cannot wait to connect with you guys all again, and I will talk to you later. Bye.